Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm getting ready to make some delicious and easy bacon chicken kebabs, and I'm gonna be using my little pig grill out here in the back. Now these kebabs are perfect for any time of the week or when you're gonna entertain friends or family. I've got everything ready, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm gonna do is prepare my seasoning in this bowl. Now you don't wanna just use salt and pepper. You really wanna add flavor to these kebabs. I'm going to start out with 1 tablespoon of paprika. And I have 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. And I have 2 teaspoons of onion powder. 1 teaspoon of Mexican oregano. 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. 1 teaspoon of pepper. You can use as much as you want. And I have 1.5 teaspoons of light brown sugar. Now I'm going to mix this up really good. Oh, your kebabs are going to be scrumptious. And here it is, super easy. Now I'm just going to set it aside and get started with my glaze. Now this glaze is what's going to give your chicken kebabs that perfect caramelization when they're on the grill. So I'm going to start off with 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce. Now this is just regular smoked mesquite barbecue sauce, but you can use your favorite. And I have 1/3 cup of honey. This is just going to give it that sweetness that I love. And it just helps out with the caramelization. And I have 3 teaspoons of chipotle adobo sauce. I just got it out of the can. I love that it adds that smokiness in there with just a little bit of kick. A little bit of that heat is perfect. And I have 1 teaspoon of regular yellow mustard. I like that the mustard just gives it a little zing. Now you can use any kind of mustard that you like. And I'm going to mix it up together really good. And this is ready. So I'm going to set it aside with my seasoning, and I'm going to get my chicken so we can get started with that. I've got my chicken ready right here. I've got 7 chicken thighs, and they're a good size, about medium. And I have them all cut up except for one because I want to show you how I did it. See? Now I cut them up into pieces about this size. You don't want them real big because it'll take longer to cook, you know, on your kebab. And you don't want them real small either. You want a good bite. See, they're all about this size. And here they are. Now these thighs are boneless. So I'm going to open it up like this, and I cut it in half. Now if you see some fat like this, you can remove it. I like to leave just a little bit because that's where the flavor is, you see. And then I cut them this way. And this will go into your skewer just perfectly. Now you know your thighs, you know, they're a little odd shaped. Just do the best you can. And I cut them the long way like this. And here they are. Now I'm going to put all my chicken in this bowl. And I'm going to season it. I like to put the seasoning in first because I think that it sticks onto the chicken really well. So I add a little bit at a time. And I move them around so they can all get really nicely coated. I've played around with the seasoning, you know, until I got it just right. I'll put everything below in the description box so you'll know exactly how much I'm using of this and how much I'm using of that. Now I'm going to leave just a little bit separate. Now I'm going to add my olive oil. Just add enough, you know, to where your chicken is well coated. You don't want to drown them, but just enough to where you can feel that all your chicken has olive oil. And this will help, you know, so that they won't stick on your skewers. And I think that's perfect. So I'm going to put these in the fridge for just a little bit while I get my skewers so I can start showing you how I put the kebabs together. So I'm ready to put my chicken kebabs together. Now these are the skewers that I'm going to be using right here. See, they're like a double size like this. This was a special gift to my Ron from a dear friend of his. Then once you assemble your kebab, you just rest them on top like this. All of them, see? Now you can use your favorite skewers. You can use the wooden ones or the metal ones. It doesn't matter as long as they work for you. And then they never touch the grill. So what I do is I spray them lightly with some non-stick spray before I get them assembled to make sure that nothing sticks, just lightly like that. And that works perfectly. So here's my chicken. Here are my yellow bell peppers. I've got red bell peppers too, and purple onion, and the bacon. Now I've got 4 slices of thick cut bacon, and I cut them up into pieces about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in size. You can make them as thick as you want, but remember that the thicker they are, the longer they take to cook on the grill. So I'm gonna get a piece of the chicken, and I'm just gonna stick it in here carefully. Now I'm gonna get a piece of bacon, and I'm gonna do the same thing, and then just put it right next to the chicken. And here's a piece of the yellow bell pepper. You can use any color that you like. Here's a piece of the purple onion. Now I'm gonna put another piece of chicken, a piece of bacon, and the pepper, the onion. If you pack them really tight, they also take longer to cook like that. So you want to just very comfortable in there. Don't press them in too tight. And that's good. Now if you see a little of the chicken hanging like this, you can just tuck it in there and it'll work just fine like that. And I think that's good. See? Now I'm going to put it right here on my rack, and I'm going to keep it covered while I prepare another one. And this is my last one. I was able to make 4 of them. I like to add salt at the very end because it's very easy to eyeball it that way. See? And that's perfect. Now I'm going to cover them up and stick them in the fridge. And I'm heading to the grill. I'm going to be using the Instant Light briquettes. You can use any kind of briquettes you want. Now we have a gas grill. If you're wondering why I'm going to put them on this grill, and that's because I know that many of you don't have a gas grill. So I'll show you how to make them on the grill with briquettes, and then you can take it from there. And that's good. Now I'm going to light them up. And here it is. See? Now it's going to take about 15 minutes for it to die down a little bit. And while that's happening, I'm going to head back to the kitchen so I can prepare my avocado cucumber salad. So I'm ready to make my avocado cucumber salad. Now I've got everything wrapped because I had it in the fridge. Now I've got 1 English cucumber right here, and I've cut it up into moons and then half. Here it is. I'm gonna put it into my bowl. This is super easy, and it's always a winner when I prepare it. Everybody loves it. I've got 3 Roma tomatoes, medium, large pieces like this, and I'm gonna dump it into my bowl. I've got about half a cup of purple onions, chopped up. You can add as much as you want. We love the purple onions. I have 1 large jalapeno, and I cut it up into small pieces, and I left the seeds, but it's optional. You don't have to put it in if you don't want. We like a little kick in our salad. And I've got a medium-sized bunch of cilantro, nicely chopped. Now I'm going to add some pepper. You can add as much as you want. Some salt. And that's good. You can add as much salt as you want. And I've got some zesty Italian dressing. This is absolutely delicious in this avocado cucumber salad. You can add as much as you want. See, you can take it a little bit at a time and then give it a toss. Look at this. So cold and refreshing. Now I like to toss everything together first before I add my last ingredient, which are the avocados, see? Because if you put them in along with everything else, then the avocado gets real mushy with all the tossing. These are Hass avocados, and I'm going to use 2 of them. Oh, look at how beautiful they are. Oh. I'm gonna cut it up into cubes. Just do the best you can. These are nice and ripe, but they're perfect. Now I'm gonna leave the avocado seed in there, and I'm gonna drop this one in there too, because that keeps the avocado from getting dark. Now I'm gonna give it a gentle toss. Just beautiful. Now I'm gonna cover it up, and I'm gonna put it in the fridge, and it'll be nice and cold when our kebabs are done. Now we can head to the grill. And here they are on the grill. See, every 3 minutes, I'm gonna flip them around. So it's been 15 minutes. I've been flipping them around every 3 minutes. Now it's time for me to add my glaze. I had to move the briquettes over to the other side because it was getting a little hot. Now I'm just gonna apply all the glaze on top. So it's been 30 minutes. Now it's time for me to add the glaze one last time. But the glaze is only gonna stay about 3 minutes, probably a minute and a half on each side. Now that I've got the glaze on, I'm gonna put 2 pita, and I'm gonna be flipping these around too, so they can get nice and warm. So my chicken kebabs are ready. Now I'm gonna cover them up, and I'm gonna let them sit here for about 10 minutes or so. And while that happens, I'm gonna prepare my iced tea. I'm gonna add my tea bags into this boiling water, just for 5 minutes. And I'm gonna turn off the heat. If you leave it any longer than 5 minutes, your tea will get a little bitter. So it's been about 5 minutes. I'm gonna get the tea bags out right here, and I'm gonna add my sugar. I've got 1 cup of sugar. Now, if you don't want to use sugar, you can use your favorite sugar substitute. So I think my sugar is dissolved. I'm gonna add my ice into the pitcher. Now it's cooled down some, so I'm gonna add it into the pitcher. And I'm gonna add some water. Now I'm gonna cut up my lemon. We'll just have to be careful with the seeds. They don't have a lot of seeds. Now I'm just gonna drop in some lemon slices in there. And I'm gonna mix it up. And I'm gonna fill it. Oh my gosh. This iced tea is absolutely delicious. And there it is. Now I'm gonna clean up this area real quick so we can serve. So I'm gonna get me one of my kebabs. This is for my Ron. And I'm gonna get it off the skewer. See, that's why spraying it with non-stick spray is good, because they just slide off so easy. Look at that. Now I'm gonna show you how we like to eat them. I'm gonna get me one of these pita. I'm going to cut it in half. And this is how we like to eat them. I'm going to fill it. And here's my avocado salad. Look at this. I'm going to put it right here on the plate. And this is for my Ron. Here you go, Ron. Now it's time for the taste test. You ready, Ron? What do you think, Ron? He can't talk. Oh.
It's good this way.
It is, isn't it? I know you're going to love this recipe. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up. Send me a comment and tell me what you think. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Thank you.